In this video, I wanted to talk about communication skills, and a lot of engineers, project engineers, and even project managers have a difficult time in just communicating with management, with their clients, and even with other design teams and the members in the design team. So in this video, I was wondering if anybody out there ever has the problem or ever received the question from someone that I didn't know we were doing that, or I'm not sure where we're at in the project, or what's going on, or have we submitted this yet? Have we already met with so and so, or something like some of that nature? Some questions that they're giving you that they should already know. Why are they asking these questions for? I mean, you know the answers, and I'm sure you think that, well, I've communicated this to everybody. Why don't you know the answer? And it really comes down to communication skills, how well you communicate with those people, your own managers above you, your clients, your project engineers, or even the project engineers to their design team, and they're getting plans back that, well, they're not like what they expected. It all comes down to communication. And so in this video, we're going to talk about communication skills, and we're going to do it right now. One of the top skills for any project manager, or for that fact, any project engineer, is communication skills. And yet, that's probably one of the weakest points for most engineers, is their communication skills. Yes, we can talk and explain to someone what we need done, but then it's like the follow-up. It seems to be always a lagging point here. And eventually, especially if you have a project that lasts for a long time, months or years, if you're not communicating well and keeping the information flowing, people get lost. They don't know what's going on with the project. And so communication becomes the most important thing that you can do as a project engineer or as a project manager, to constantly tell these individuals that need to know what's going on with their project. Probably the first most important thing in communication is watching our language. And what we mean by that is the words that we use. In the engineering profession, there's very technical words that we use on a daily basis that become very commonplace to us. And often we forget that our clients may not know those words, may not understand what a hydrology report is, or a geotechnical report is, or when we talk about cofferdams, or when we talk about a code or something, that how you write a code by a certain language, in computer language. So we have to make sure that whenever we're talking to clients, that we adjust the language that we're using to where they understand what we're trying to communicate to them. It's very important, because if you get out of way too big of a words, they begin to glass over and have no idea what you're talking about, and that causes a problem in the stream of communication. If they don't know what you're talking about, they won't know what's going on with the project. So it's very important that you make sure they understand what you're saying with clear, concise language, yet at a level that your audience can understand. When you're talking to other designers, well, sure, you can use those technical terms all day long because they use the same terms. But when you're talking to clients, you may have to adjust that. When you go into a public meeting, again, you may have to adjust the language even more so that other people can understand what the message you're trying to convey. Another thing that we learn as engineers early on is that when we are communicating, we like to go into great detail and description of what the matter is about and how to solve the problem, and the best choice that we've come up with to solve the problem. And these can go on for many, many, many pages. But if you're like most people out there, well, they don't have the time to read 15, 20, 100-page reports. They want a very clear, concise report, preferably on one page, but 2 pages is okay. Once you get past that, they have to find time to actually sit down and read, if at all they will read that report. Even when we're talking to other people, like if you go to a public meeting, even in city council meetings, you want to make sure that your language isn't too long. You don't want long descriptions, because one, you're giving too much information, and two, you may be giving so much information that they cannot consume the information. So you want to limit that information down and only say the things that need to be said so they can understand exactly the message you're trying to convey to them. Very important to be very concise when you're writing. One of the cases is like writing a letter. In most letters that we write out that are technical letters, you can do it in 3 paragraphs on 1 page. First paragraph, stating the project and why you're submitting this letter. Second paragraph, go into the description, what you're doing, how you plan to solve the problem, what you need them to do for you, those kind of things. Third paragraph is to close it up, and that is to say, if you need more information, please contact me at this phone number, this email address, or anything like that. So basically 3 paragraphs. Even in writing emails, you want to be very concise. You want to be able to say, this is what I need done. This is why I'm writing you the email. Can you please send me the information on this or that? Can you further explain this to me so I can understand exactly what you want? And then go ahead and close it up. Very short, very concise. You don't want to go around talking about the weather, what's in their family, going on in their family, anything like that. This is a business call, so you want to be very, very concise. And that's what your clients are expecting from you. That's what the teams are expecting from you. And that's what your managers are expecting from you. Very clear, concise language. So with that is another term that they use is trying to avoid the data dump. The data dump is when you just throwing everything out there. Everything's in your mind, you're putting into that letter. All the information. This is quite often you'll read it in research papers that go on for 20, 30 pages long, and they're just giving you all the background, everybody who ever worked on this project, why they did this, why they did that. When 20 pages later, it gets down to the summary, and it basically says, well, this is the problem, and this is the solution. We're looking for you to prove that. Oh my gosh, you could have said that a lot easier, because you have to remember that your person who is reading that or listening to it or what have you don't have much time. So they want to see it as quickly as possible. Tell me what you want to tell me about. Go ahead and tell it right out front. Tell me what you think that the solutions are, and then get to the end and say, can you approve that? Or give me further information, or whatever the other item that you need from them in order to move forward with the project. So that's where you want to be with your communication. Very concise. Don't dump a whole bunch of information. Just put out what you need so they know what's going on with the project at all times. You ever hear that a picture is worth 1,000 words? Well, it really is, okay? In communication, quite often your visuals are very, very important, and you want to put out a picture, especially one that really concludes exactly what's going on with the project. One of the clearest pictures that we often use in project management is a Gantt chart. There's a reason for that. On a Gantt chart, it shows the client or anyone else who's reading it the steps it's going to take to finish the project, what steps have already been finished, and whether the project is ahead or behind schedule. These are all important information, and it's visual, and it can be easily seen really quickly. A project manager can easily point to the various bars on the Gantt chart and tell the client exactly where he's at in the process. Even in telling to management whether they're on budget or off budget. And it's very important to teams, because then teams know their upcoming work that they're going to have to do and the resources they need to have in order to finish those line items on time. So visuals are very, very important in communications. Even when you're doing reports, you should have as many visuals within the report as possible so it can limit the size of your written text down. All you got to do is say, look at figure so-and-so. This is where we're at. This is what's going on with your soils. This is what's going on with your hydrology, on and on and on. And it's all visuals, and it's very easy for someone to look at. So that is a very important communication skill, using visuals. Often as engineers, we find ourselves as being good at what we do. And there's really no room for critiquing us because we're the best, right? And there's no way to improve because we're an engineer. We're always right. But in reality, we all know that we're not perfect, and there's always room for improvement, especially in communication with engineers and project managers. The best way to get feedback on how well we're communicating is simply to go ask your peers, your coworkers. Ask them to anonymously write out their critique about how well you communicate. Do you send out messages on a timely basis? Do you send out letters that clients understand? Do you send out phone calls and leave messages that they understand, or other people within the team or within the company understand exactly what you're trying to convey? Is there room for improvement on how you communicate? That's always the key, and you should always be looking to improve your communication skills. Even as I am doing this video, I'm looking for you to tell me how well I'm doing, because I'm always trying to improve my videos, which is communication. So please go ahead and go down below there and leave a comment and tell me whether our video is working for you, and does it actually communicate what we're trying to convey to you as a project engineer or as a project manager. That communication skills are extremely important. Now let's take a look at some different types of communication that we use as project engineers and project managers. One of the types of communication that we use is emails. And I tell you, I write a lot of emails. In fact, just about every day I spend the first hour to 2 hours of my day just going through my emails in my office. And we have to read all the emails, respond to all the emails that we can, and also try to respond to all emails before the end of the day. Emails are very, very important because they give you a tracking of communication between you and another individual or several individuals, especially clients. We use emails all the time. In the messaging of the email, the first thing you want to make sure that's in the title of the email is to say what project we're talking about and what this email is about. You want to say that we're moving the meeting forward to, you say the meeting's moved to Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the heading of the email, and then in the body of the email to actually repeat that and give some more explanation. Also, you want to make sure that when you send out emails, don't make all your emails urgent. They're not. Most emails can be addressed over 24 hours, and that's the reason why we send emails. We don't need an immediate response right now. We just need it within the next 24 hours to let me know what's going on, what you're doing with this or that. So not all emails are urgent. And on top of that, people are not always sitting at their desk to look at an email that's coming in. So you have to anticipate that they're not going to be there for several hours before they see the email. Another thing you need to be careful about in your emails is to make sure that you just stick with the subject heading of the email. Make sure that what's in the email is only relevant to that topic. Don't be putting in stuff about other projects or other people or anything like that. The reason is because you don't know where those emails are going to go to. They're very easy to be forwarded to somebody. Usually a client will forward it to either his subordinates or to his managers. And so you don't want the personal talk so much in there. You want to make sure you stay in business and on topic. That's one of the most important things about emails, is that they're very short, very concise emails, and they get to the point really, really quick. Writing letters is very important. You want to make sure that once you get down to that first paragraph, that you state what the letter's objective is. You don't want the reader to have to go down several paragraphs to figure out what the letter's for, or several pages later to figure out why you got this letter. No, you want to say it right up front. The objective has to be said pretty quickly. because the reader only has so much time. He's sitting in his office. He's got a stack of papers he has to go through. Don't make his life miserable by trying to figure out why you sent him this letter. You want to have that objective right up front. Let's say you're sending this letter into a county agency, a reviewing agency, that has sent you comments and red lines on a set of plans that you have submitted. So the letter is going back with the revised plans. We are providing this letter to the county seeking approval of the updated plans based upon the red lines received from your office on so-and-so date. So that's the objective. You already said right there, we're looking for your approval. These plans have been updated, and they've been updated according and they have been updated per your comments. So that's the first paragraph. Now the second paragraph, and maybe even a third paragraph, is going into the description of what you have done and why you have done this. And then the final paragraph is your conclusion. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact me. And that's pretty much it. So the letter is very short and it stays on topic. You want that objective in the first paragraph, you want the explanation in the second, third paragraph, and then finally a conclusion. 1 page, 2 pages at the max. That's how we write letters. Another very important communication skill that we all need as engineers and project managers when we're calling our clients or when we're calling a government agency or whenever we're calling anyone actually, and they're not on the other end to pick up the phone and comes on their messaging system. Well, if most of you know, messages to be left on someone's phone need to be very short. If you get into a long description of what your message is, it will time out. You may never ever get to the point of telling why you even called or who you are. There's a very simple rule on how to leave a phone message. And it may sound silly, but I even have to bring this up. But believe it or not, I get a lot of phone messages that don't follow the rules here, basically. First of all, please leave the date and time that you made the phone call. Why is that important? Well, if I know that you just called a few minutes ago, I got a little bit of time before I need to call you back maybe. Or maybe you called me yesterday, so I need to go ahead and hurry up and give you a call back. Or I need to remind you when I called you last. And so that's why you leave the date and time on there. It's very important to do that. Next, you need to get to the point of your phone call as quickly as possible. Hello, John. This is Joe. I'm calling you about the soils report. I have not received it yet, and I'm wondering if you have it. And if you do, please forward it on over to me. Please give me a call back. So that's an objective, okay? Very short, very quick. And that's always what you want to do with leaving a phone message. It's only one action that you're asking for. If you got to do multiple actions and you got a whole list of things that you need to discuss, just leave the message and say, hey, can you give me a call as soon as possible? I need to talk about an issue that we just found at the job site. If you can give me a call back before the end of the day. And that's another objective. Just give me a call because I got something I got to talk to you about real quick. They're prepared for that. That's what makes it one objective. And then when they call you, then you can list out all the various issues that you have that you need to discuss with that individual. And lastly, a communication skill that we all need to work on as engineers and project managers is making presentations. It's probably the most uncomfortable thing for most people, but especially for engineers and project managers. Presentations is not easy. It's very nerve-wracking, and it's something that you get over time. You never really get over the being nervous, but you learn to control it. The main thing about presentations is being prepared to make a presentation. And the more prepared you are, the more comfortable you are at making the presentation. And I made presentations where I wasn't well prepared, and boy, those didn't go off very well. But if you make a presentation that you are prepared for, and you know the answers to any questions that may come up, then you're going to be very comfortable up there. You may get nervous, but that's all about just taking a break a little bit, pause, catch your breath, and then continuing on. So that's a presentation skill. Is a very important communication skill. Now, some people say that The best way to do a presentation is first, when you get up onto the stage, is to go ahead and say what your presentation is about. What is the objective of the presentation? And then you proceed into the presentation, and then at the end, you summarize everything you just said, which of course was the objective of the presentation. Again, in presentations, make sure you're using visuals, as many visuals as possible, and that you're clear and concise on what you're saying, and that you're using a language that the audience that you're presenting to understands. Remember, not everybody understands all of our engineering jargon that we use on a daily basis, so we need to kind of tone those down a little bit and get them to where the average person can understand what we mean when we're talking about maybe stresses or loads and live loads and dead loads. Those different terms that we use on a daily basis as engineers, we need to make sure that the language we use in front of the public is the words that they will understand. So I just gave you some of the basic things in communication skills that every project engineer and project manager needs to know. You need to work on these on a daily basis. It's a lifelong learning event. You'll never be perfect. Look at me. But, you get better with it over time, and you keep communicating in emails and letters and verbal on how you speak to your managers, your clients, and your teams. All those communication skills that you're using. You want to use as many different type of communication methods as possible with everyone. Don't always use the same communication method. Always email and nothing else. I never take phone calls. I only send out emails. No, you want to use multiple types of emails. Texting, emails, phone calls, verbal, one-on-one, all kinds of methods of communicating with other people. And the more you do it and continuously do it, repeating over and over again exactly the objectives that you're trying to confer from yourself to them, the more likely everyone knows what's going on and stays online. They work right through the project, complete the schedule on time, on budget, and everybody's super happy. But it all starts with having great communication skills. Now, in this video, over on the side here, you're going to find another video that also talks about project management and how project managers can be better at what they do. Also about project engineers. You'll find these videos on the side. If you've been getting value out of this video, please go ahead down below, hit that like button down there, and also make sure you go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And hit that bell down there because it'll send you notifications every time we upload a new video. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Until then, keep on learning, keep on being a better project manager, a better project engineer every day. Work at it, and you will be a top-notch project engineer and project manager in an engineering firm. See you later.